Every journey begins with a question. For me, it started out of pure curiosity. What does the future of African tech really look like? And who's building it? You see, that question has taken me across cities, past the vibrant chaos of Lagos, through conversations and code bases, and now into the calm heartbeat of Nigeria's capital,
Abuja.
And let me tell you, Abuja is vibrant. If you've ever spent time here, you already know two things are guaranteed: good food and people who do not play with their time. Tell someone 10 a.m. and you better show up at 9:59. That intentionality is not just in their schedules, it's in their work ethic, their vision, and the way they build. And no one embodies that quiet brilliance quite like
Kenneth Nwankwo.
He's not the loudest in the room. He doesn't need to be, because while others are talking, he's freaking building the backbone. From cloud engineering to cybersecurity, containerization to Kubernetes. You see, Kenneth's work doesn't live in the theory. It's live, it's global, it's resilient. He's the kind of engineer whose name you might not know, but if your favorite web platform hasn't gone down lately, you've got him to thank. Today, I sit with Kenneth to unpack his journey, his process, and what it really takes to be a world-class DevOps and cybersecurity expert, building from Abuja. So grab a drink, maybe even some suya if you're in town, or kilichi. I love kilichi. Because this is one story you want to follow to the very end.
My name is Kenneth Nwankwo, and I was born into a family of five. Grew up in the northern part of Nigeria. And personally, I've been a puzzle solver from when I was a child, from fixing the VCR when it goes bad until when I got a bit older. And I am my older brother, like to dabble into things I had to do with tech. But then again, being brought up in such a large number of children in the house. But then I got into the university. My first degree was in industrial physics, and also I spent time doing my master's in cybersecurity. So that's just a little bit about me for now. I think you might be more specific to Brass America.
So what do you do now professionally?
All right, now professionally, I'm a DevOps engineer, and headed was being a senior DevOps engineer.
Right. Okay. So DevOps. If I remember clearly, DevOps started somewhere around 2008, 2009-ish, right?
Correct. Yes.
So I would like to know, what was your journey to becoming a DevOps engineer?
Well, it's always been quite a journey. When I did start out knowing what DevOps was, I was always fascinated about computer and fixing stuff from when I was in the university. I had my first computer in my 400 level, and just immediately I started fixing my colleagues' laptops for some money. So that got me really quick attracted into tech, even though my first degree was an industrial physics student. And so after just shortly doing my with some things, I realized I'm going to actually apply myself more to tech. So it all started by going into a town to serve, realizing their tech services were on the low, and I made myself available, and I was training the tech people there and making money for myself. I was making my alawi in a week, and it was really awesome for me. So that triggered a lot of things in me, and I started researching. I did a lot of personal research, and then I realized I could do a lot of things that people go to school to study on my own. So I realized, so I have the tech skill. Why don't I upskill? And then I tried to enroll for a cybersecurity master's. So when I got into cybersecurity and I got doing the master's, then I realized, wait, there is something new. And not just that it's new, it's not the regular kind of app development, learning the programming language. It's called DevOps. And then you do a lot of, it's a little bit like a jack of all trade in the new tech world. You are able to learn and do every one thing here and there. And I got interested. So I started teaching myself DevOps while I was doing my master's of cybersecurity in MENA. So I was privileged to find some of the free courses from the cloud providers, got some free certifications, in some free certification vouchers. That was what sets the pace. But that's not when I started doing DevOps. Just before then, I had my own place in town where we do tech fixes. I'm fixing your phone, software problems to your laptop. I'm went even as light as upgrading an entire system for even the military base in MENA. So it was a huge thing for me. I had people working with me. I had people I employed because a lot of people wanted to get into the tech. But then for me, DevOps took my attention doing my master's. And when I was doing my master's, I decided to go way full in. Of course, I worked as a system administrator for the first time.
Okay. That's quite interesting because it sounds like you must have made a lot of money. Hey, this is a trial journey.
I'll stop you right there. This is Nigeria, and most times, most companies don't really value the DevOps, and mostly in the beginning, DevOps was really known by Nigerian companies. They are way okay wanting things the old ways. So we just you just keep training yourself and hoping that international company recognizes you at those, because DevOps was a very new technology back then, and nobody was employing anybody as a DevOps. When you're a software engineer, they expect you to do all the things. So it wasn't really a smooth journey. So when they employ you, you're going to keep wondering if they should pay you so much or if it was assisting the developers. So it was really a tough part in the money section.
That is quite interesting. Now, we're talking about DevOps now. And a lot of people watching this may not even know what a DevOps engineer does, or what it means to be in DevOps. So what do you do on a day-to-day, or who is a DevOps person?
I'm very glad you asked, because a lot of people keep nodding their heads to the word DevOps and they go ahead and mistake it for developers. Anyway, the word DevOps is a concatenation of two words: development and operations. So for a long time in the tech industry, the developers finish building and he works on their computer. When they come to deploy the internet, there's also a big problem on the cyber. There's a lot of compatibility issues, and then it slows down production. So a software that could be built in a short time is taking a long time because they're looking for their corporate environment, how to move the codes, how to make them compatible. So just like you said, then around 2009, 2008, DevOps Kelly, and they put out that there was a role. There's a role of a certain people that, one, makes the production of applications very fast. Two, it allows your application to run seamlessly, just like on your system. So there's a lot of technology that comes into being a DevOps. So for example, you build in an application and this application is running quite beautifully on your computer. Now you need to give it to the world. It's not going to run from a computer. So you somehow need to host this application on a web. Back in the days, you could easily use cPanel for small applications, but now people are building some bigger kinds of applications. That's no longer the monolithic kind of application. Microservices came into the picture where you have little parts of the application that needs to talk to each other, and they need an environment and allow them to communicate. And not just that, DevOps made it possible for the development process. We call it the continuous integration. Why the developers are building on their computer, a pipeline is created. Now, this environment is created early. While you're building and testing your computer, you can push and test on the environment. So it means that you catch errors early, it makes deployment faster, and then you can even have more than one environment. So imagine you're developing an application for someone, and then this company wants to see what you're doing, even if you just don't do it with, and then they want to see from the environment. They don't want to see it on your computer. Let's say they're in the US. And so when they say you need to see, so when you push, so a DevOps engineer arranges the pipeline to test your code, integrate it, package it, and make it available from the server and to the world to adjust that level. So even if it's as simple as changing the color of a web page, it means that your developer somewhere in Nigeria can just change the color and press a button, and with the magic that has been performed by the DevOps engineer, in a matter of a second or two, you just refresh the page in the US and then the color has changed. Wow. So DevOps engineers have come to speed up software development process in a short form.
I always like to hear about DevOps from different perspective. It's like I'm hearing it for the first time again. What DevOps engineers do. But that's really good. It sounds like a really professional and admirable profession to go into. Now let's switch gears into the community or the tech ecosystem in Nigeria. I mean, we're in Abuja right now, and I don't know how long you've been living in Abuja, but how has the community, the tech ecosystem supported you so far in your journey, from what you were doing before to what you're doing now?
Well, I wouldn't say there have been much support, but I would say it's waking up, meaning that as time goes on, a lot of people want to learn about it. A lot of companies are becoming more aware that there's something missing. Like, take the backend sector, for instance. See, the backend sectors before now don't hire DevOps engineers. What did they go to? The goals now, there's a now new goal for DevOps engineers. It's something that is just beginning to pick up. So before now, you have to do a lot of self-learning. You have to do a lot of hoping that your skills are recognized by international companies. So meaning that if you're a DevOps engineer, you should be able to have some projects you can showcase on your personal portfolio, on LinkedIn or GitHub, wherever it is. That's how you get recognized as a DevOps engineer. So it's not really an easy journey. At the moment, it's getting better, but it wasn't an easy journey in the beginning because you have to a lot to get recognized and get paid for what you're worth.
Right. Okay. So it's surprising that you said that there hasn't been a lot of support as such from, the tech community in Nigeria. But I mean, coming to Nigeria recently, I see a lot of hubs. I mean, there is CC Hub, there's new innovation labs that are created at Belori. I see a whole lot of things going on. So is it that you're not aware of the resources available, or you're just not getting the support that you expect that you will get?
I'm aware of what you're saying, but see, your question is centered around a DevOps engineer. Okay. Even the innovation labs are yet to start training people on DevOps. Right. But the innovation labs are good at C++, designs, UI, UL, scale coming off. But you see, the infancy of DevOps in Nigeria means that the moment you become a professional DevOps, you don't want to stay train other people. You have a lot of jobs in your hands, and so I'm thinking that the innovation labs and all of them are doing a very great job, bringing a lot of people to the tech space. But when I'm talking about recognizing DevOps in Nigeria, meaning that if you have started learning DevOps in 2010 or whatever time you wanted to learn, you would have been on your own. So that was when I started learning DevOps. I had to explain what it means, what the word means before I tell somebody what the job is. So you can imagine. So I had to be the one telling people that they need a DevOps engineer, that the water. So the Nigerian kind of society is a type where when we need to go to the website, do something, and maybe the whole Nigeria, for example, needs to update something that they use. And you realize that when everyone's building on the websites at the same time, the website won't work. Yeah, and I then I see people are suffering it right now when they want to go and take their call up. The websites are able to kick it. But that is where the DevOps comes in. So when companies start to realize that there is a way to make this thing seamless, there's a way to change the way you deploy application in form of microservices. It allows you to scale when there's pressure. Take advantage of all the cloud providers. They have a lot of tools that you can use, sometimes at zero cost. That's the most interesting part. So unless you know about these things, your company knows about how important these things can be, you realize that your company you can see company tell you that the site is going to be smooth now. Everybody's trying to access just week later in the night. And yeah, I'll keep with it.
Yeah. Okay. That's quite interesting you said that because, we had similar experience in our business too, on Diary.io, where there was a time we do have microservices running and we have a particular service that focuses on our AI side of things. Yeah. And we had like a massive spike because a lot of people have started using that particular feature. And thankfully, we have auto-scaling and horizontal auto-scaling and all those things going on. And we could just see right in front of our eyes how the old thing was just spiking up and initially there was a bit of lag because people would say, oh, it's not working so well. But before the new one was going up, boom, it started working so fast. Everything was so seamless and thanks to DevOps. So I completely understand where you're coming from. All right. So I want to talk a bit more about the potential for this, for the future. What do you see DevOps becoming? Because we can see it's still at the infancy stage right now, right here in Nigeria. But I do know a lot of people that are into DevOps because, our company started with DevOps training. And I mean, a lot of them are doing amazing, well, people that we have trained in the last few years. What do you see the future of this industry in Nigeria as a whole?
Well, simply put, I think Nigeria is going to be one of the best place you can recruit DevOps talent in a few years. Why? Because a lot of people are jumping on it. I heard the worst part, or not the best part rather, the fact that with a little time from now, Nigeria is going to be one of the largest supplier of the DevOps talent in the world. Because we not only have smart young people, but it's a no-brainer that the DevOps is becoming a hub in every tech industry. So the DevOps engineer in the US right now, you need to do a background check to make sure, because they have to open up everything to you. You are going to be the one in charge of the servers, in charge of their cloud account, their GitHub account, everything. You're going to have a full ownership access to all these things. So it means that if you're learning to become a DevOps engineer, you are learning to become a jack of all trades in concerns in the latest technologies. So you need to know how to do everything. Because sometimes you get employed, like a recent project I was doing. I was very good in DevOps, but when they told me, I said, I will be configuring servers in the data center all the way in Netherlands from Nigeria. And I'm setting them up for Kubernetes, something very technical. So you can imagine how much knowledge you have to learn to be able to work. So most times, the DevOps engineers now are not just people that are talented or people that are ready to take on challenges and also learn on the go.
I'd like you to tell me, in your journey, what's the earning potential? How much have you been earning working as a DevOps engineer? Or how much do you earn now? And what is the potential of the earning?
Okay. In DevOps, I think talking about the potential in Nigeria up to 9 figures, because the thing is, but for me, I probably started by very, very much lower because you work in Nigeria, earning quarter of a million or even less. That's not even enough to live in Nigeria. But then I realized something about DevOps. Whenever you're getting into a tech position, you need experience. And experience calls for the fact that you need to start from a humble beginning. So you need to start from the person that's willing to give you that opportunity. Not looking at the money, you need to start. But you need to apply yourself. You need to keep training yourself. You need to keep growing. And then you can now start growing your portfolio. Other companies are going to start recognizing you and they can give you another opportunity. So in a nutshell, I quadrupled my earning in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was able to, from working from one company and growing my portfolio, I was able to get another job that allowed me to work remotely. And for the end of the year, I was doing 4 jobs. And then even if in Nigeria, they aren't going to pay you the worth of the job, it's still experience. Because the companies outside Nigeria or those big companies are not going to just see you and pick you up. You need time to spend in these experiences. So it's one thing to read about cloud providers, what AWS can do for you, how you can use it to deploy stuff. But it's another thing to actually work in a production environment using those tools. Don't care. That's what makes you a DevOps engineer.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I get very sensitive when I hear things like doing 4 jobs. The reason I get sensitive with that is because I do know that when you work multiple jobs, your impact in the particular job is felt. Okay. You won't be able to focus and give your best to it. So is it a good practice to actually do multiple jobs at the same time? And are those organizations aware of the other part for full disclosure? Okay, now how does that work?
Okay, good. I think, of course, the ideal situation is not to do 4 jobs, right? But like I said, depending on your agreement. So some of them hire you like a freelance,
Okay.
and pay you not so much to carry out some tasks. So some contracts can allow you just to do your task at your free time. Just give you a timeline to get it done.
Right.
Now, that's one of the advantages we have in Nigeria. And most of the companies in Nigeria will want to do that because they wouldn't want to pay one.
Right.
So, but of course, it's for you learning, for your learning purpose, and for your experience gathering. It's something you need. Because when you're done with this task, imagine the DevOps engineer doing just like the job role of a civil engineer, an architect for a building.
Okay.
They do a lot, but they don't. You not see them carry block every day, right? It's so they do some directions and then they let you to come when there's a problem and they solve it out. So sometimes that's what a DevOps engineer does after doing the proper planning of a deployment strategy. So most times it allows you to do other jobs, but of course, when the company that knows your port fully can engage you completely,
Right.
they pay you what? And of course, why would you want to take other jobs?
Okay. That makes sense. So it depends on the arrangement that you have with company or work. So you might be a freelancer, do a few tasks here and there, keep on the later, you should move on charge, share contracts and all that. That makes a whole lot of sense. I have worked with HMRC, the Home Office, Barclays Bank in the UK, and most of the work that I've done has been full-time every time because the volume of work itself is so much that you don't even have time to do.
They're only on a variety. Most people want to take a bit of time and they pay you for it. Yeah, and they say, I can't pay you enough. Say, I just need your day this off.
That
I want this 3 days. Anyone is any, so that's how they do it. So they pay you a little. Or because I want to take you 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day.
before we get back, that makes sense. I mean, I like the fact that it's also flexible. You know, you can do freelancing, and there are lots of freelancing websites out there today where you can go and get gigs and so that. That's really awesome. Right. So, Kenneth, thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. So I have just one more question and I'll leave you away. And that is, in fact, my question is 2 in 1. So the first one is, what advice would you give to other people who are trying to get into what you're doing now? Okay. One of the challenges that a lot of people have is getting experience. That first experience to get in that first job. What advice do you have, and where do you think they should go to accomplish what they want? And the other question is, what is your inspiration? Who inspires you to do what you do today in this space?
All right. For those planning to come into the career of DevOps, personally, of course, experience is important, but I always encourage, because personally, how I have contributed, I have a Slack channel. And I train people on DevOps too. I just guide them about so they pick up the knowledge they need. But you see, the first thing is applying yourself. So I feel that the biggest challenge we have, or anybody could have, is being patient to go through the process. So people don't have patience. So you need to read, practice, and showcase what you can do. So when you learn a little bit, know how to put it down in writing, whether it's going to be too medium, through LinkedIn, try to put out something you learned, something done on your own. That's a good start. So as you learn how to document, then how to showcase. That would guide you to getting your first internship or even getting you in a job role as just a cloud engineer. Now, these learnings, there are a lot of YouTubes there that guide you through so many projects. Apply yourself to it, do them. It builds your confidence. So for me, anybody looking to come into this should start by, there's a roadmap. Learn a little bit of Linux, learn a little bit of cloud, learn a little bit of Git, learn a little bit of containerization, and then you're on your way to becoming a DevOps engineer. Yeah. So I think there's a whole roadmap out there on the internet. But what I would advise anyone learning is be patient. Whatever you're doing, take your time. Don't be too much in a hurry to go make the money. Because the job pays well for those that actually take the time. And it's not a job that you, when you go on interview of a DevOps engineer, it's not like every other kind of job. They ask you a question that has direct impact with what you've done. So if you've not done it and you've just read about it, they'll just tell you, you need to go to support. And then for your other question about who or what inspires me every day, growing up, my dad did something and then he he lets me know two things, which is you can do anything you want. You have to set your mind to it. And sometime in my university days, a cousin of mine was going to tell me good luck in exams, and he said, and this text read, there is no difference between those that don't read and those that can't read. So if you can read, start reading now. Now, that went very deep, right? Because there's not really difference between people that can't and people that don't want to apply themselves. So it gave me that assurance that everybody's intelligent. It's about what you're willing to do first. So I think when you look back and see your loved ones that need to be taken care of, and you look back and see things you can do, you know you are capable of, that's another inspiration for me.
That's good. And who inspires you in the DevOps? Do you have anyone?
Oh yeah, there's this Indian guy, Abhishek. He really goes out to train a lot of people. He gives out a lot of free content, and he even gave me a recommendation. I was so happy because he goes out of his way to train people on DevOps and supply a lot of people with free content. And that's very inspiring because it means you have gone through the hard part, and you see people coming along the way, and you just give them just the steps they need. So this guy has gone out to do a lot of good jobs. And because of that, as I'm learning to be a DevOps engineer, I am building a small community able to give the guides to anybody that comes around me.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for giving me this question. So much. And for those who are listening to us, I mean, we've just talked about if you're looking for your first opportunity, Externals.ai is the place you can actually go to acquire the skills that you need. You only need to do an assessment. Once you have the basic skills, you get in and you work on projects collaboratively with other engineers, and you have access to tech experts like Kenneth, for example, who can be your mentor on that platform and get your experience going.
At the heart of Dario Lufumlayo Human Capital Foundation, DOHCF, we believe Africa's greatest resource is its people. Through our integrated platforms, Dario.io for world-class skills training and Externals.ai for proof of skills employment pathways, we are building Africa's future workforce. Our mission is simple: empower African talents with world-class skills, real-world project experience, mentorship, and corporate partnerships that provide a clear path to employment.